right. Hello, my name is Hannah Gilbert. I'm the STEM Program Manager for Girl Scouts River Valleys, and this training is to help you get ready for our upcoming Girl Scouts architecture event. So we're so excited that you're volunteering, and I'm just going to go through a few things that'll help you be more successful at the event and get you ready to have an awesome experience with some kindergarten and first graders. So we're really excited that girls will be earning their Think Like an Engineer badge with a sort of focus on architecture. And so it's your kind of role modeling that really helps the girls feel like these ideas and careers are options for them. And even at a young age, that exposure is really important. So thank you so much for coming, and I look forward to kind of going through this training with you. So here's our agenda. First, we're going to learn a little bit more about Girl Scouts River Valleys in case you aren't familiar. I'll talk a little bit about our philosophy around STEM and some of our goals. And then we'll talk about working with girls. Maybe some of you don't have as much experience with working with children or children in the age range that we're going to talk about. So we'll talk a little bit about getting their attention and helping you kind of control the room. And then also taking a step back during our activities and letting them have a really great experience. And then the last one, oops, my numbers are off. Number 2, I guess, we're going to overview the event itself. So we're going to talk about the structure of our event and what your role is going to be in that structure. And I've included a curriculum as well. So I will go through that curriculum sheet in this training, and then you'll have received it as well in the email with this training. So Girl Scouts River Valley serves about 30,000 girls and 13,000 adult members with about 9,000 volunteers in this sort of region of Minnesota and Wisconsin. So it includes the Twin Cities metro area and south, and then some of western Wisconsin along the St. Croix. And so we're really proud to serve all these girls with our mission of building girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. So the Girl Scout leadership experience is really made up of 4 major program pillars. And those are STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, the outdoors, life skills, and entrepreneurship. You might be familiar with entrepreneurship. Our big entrepreneurship program is the Cookie Program, which is the largest girl-run business. And so girls learn a lot of great skills through that program. We do a lot of outdoor programming. In fact, I'm a camp director as well, so we do a lot of things with camping, outdoor activities, archery, rock climbing, all that good stuff. And then life skills includes things like leadership and advocacy, but also things like the arts and all kinds of things. So there's really something for everyone in Girl Scouts. But these are the 4 main pillars because we know that girls who are well-rounded in these areas are more likely to be successful leaders in the future. And STEM is one of those main pillars because we know it leads to success in the future, whether they end up being a STEM professional or going into a STEM career or not. So the Girl Scout leadership experience is kind of made up of these 3 main things: discover, connect, and take action. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because the award the girls are earning tomorrow, they're going to focus on the discover and connect piece. And then when they go home and they come back to their troop environment, they're going to work with their troop leader or their troop to work on the take action piece. So first we discover new things about who we are, what we like, what we're good at, by trying all kinds of different options. So in this case, they're getting a chance to try architecture. We also get to connect, so collaborate with other people to learn from one another and expand our horizons. So in this case, they're learning both from experienced architects and from the girls around them. They're meeting new girls that maybe they haven't met before. And the last piece is take action. So it's doing something to make the world a better place. We're hoping that after this experience together at the architecture event, the girls can use some of what they learned to do a project that maybe makes their school, their community, something even as small as something in their school that can help make an impact. We want to empower girls to do that even at a young age. So with Girl Scouts, we have 3 main strategies for engaging girls in STEM activities. We focus on interest, skills, and confidence. The interest piece is all about kind of that hands-on exploratory engagement. We want to have really relevant curriculum because we know that girls learn best when they are able to connect what they're doing to the real world. So in this case, our event is a perfect example of they can see how architects really build our world and contribute positively to the world. And then plus we're doing something super hands-on. The skills we want to focus on are really less about maybe some of the STEM skills you might learn in school, some of the theoretical pieces, and really more about critical thinking, curiosity, questioning activities, working collaboratively as a team, and learning through failure. So we want girls to take risks and then be able to reflect on that and see what happened and do better next time. And the last piece is all about confidence. So we know that there are proven strategies to improve girls' confidence in science, technology, engineering, and math. And for that, it is the all-girl environment. So in this case, they're around other girls, which oftentimes girls don't get the opportunity to do. They're often in a co-ed environment. So this gives them a chance to be in an all-girl environment, which we know moves the needle and improves confidence in STEM. They're doing girl-led activities, and you'll see how that's kind of threaded throughout this program. But even in kindergarten and first grade, the girls are leading the experience. And the last piece is that they're having access to diverse and positive women role models in these fields, and that's exactly what you guys are doing. So thank you so much for volunteering with that. We know from research at Girl Scout Research Institute that doing these things in STEM and getting girls interested and involved in STEM really can make an impact on their life in general. So a couple of things I like to point out is that girls who are interested in STEM are more likely to know that if they try really hard at something, they will succeed. And they're more likely to think that obstacles make them stronger. They're less likely to pursue things that they're only naturally good at. They're going to go after some things that maybe they have no idea if they're going to be good or not, but they're going to give it a try. So that's why we want to focus on the STEM education, not just to get girls to be the architects of the future, but so that they can use those skills in anything that they decide to do. So now let's move on and let's pivot a little bit to helping the girls in the event itself. So you'll play a few different roles, and we'll talk about that more in depth, but you're kind of a facilitator, and in any group of girls you might need to get their attention. So one thing that I will model at the event is one of my favorite attention getters, which is if you can hear my voice, clap once, and then the girls clap. And I continue to do this basically until everybody is paying attention. So I'll model that for you, and you can certainly use that in your smaller group of girls to get their attention. We can also use a call and response that your group establishes together. One that we like to do at camp a lot is, who runs the world? And they say, girls. So you can establish that as a group together. You can come up with one at the beginning that you want to use, and that can also add kind of a team dynamic to your group, which is fun. We can also use the Girl Scout quiet sign. So most girls are familiar that if everybody's raising their hand, that means they need to be quiet. So a simple raise of the hand, other girls might raise their hand and then they'll be quiet. Some of these girls might not be aware of that though, so I'll try to set that up in the beginning. So tips, remember that this is an event, not school, so it's really supposed to be fun, and you may need to get their attention more than once, and that's okay. So we're not expecting that they're going to have perfect focus the whole time. We know that this is supposed to be fun, and so just kind of keep that in mind. If you need any help at all, you can always call me over. I'll be there at the event. I'm the Girl Scout lead, so I'd be happy to help with some group management if you need that help. And I'll also pull the whole group together, so we'll get into a big group and have a little brain break if it seems like the girls are having trouble focusing. So knowing this age group, working on one project for a long time can sometimes be challenging, so we'll break it up with some brain breaks to help the girls stay focused. The next piece I wanted to talk about is taking a step back. And so actually when I was developing this program with an architect, one of the things she mentioned was that we want to, in architecture school, is that if you're doing a studio, you don't want to have a professor or a professional architect who basically just tells you everything you need to do, because you're not learning anything, right? So you want to be able to kind of absorb that and figure things out on your own. So what we want to try and avoid is if we see a girl struggling, we don't want to tell her what to do to fix the problem. Instead, we want to see a girl is struggling and then listen, ask some questions, help guide her thinking a little bit. And then she might come up with a solution on her own. And in that case, she learned something and she developed some persistence. So just because she wasn't sure what to do at first, she was able to realize that she could keep working at it and succeed. So try and do that green line during this program. Even though the girls are young and we want to help them, we don't like to see a girl struggle. The best way to help them is to listen and just ask some good questions to guide them, and then they'll learn something. So this event is structured pretty simply. It's based off studio work in architecture school. So the girls are going to design a building for a client. It's a small toy that they're going to bring with them, like an action figure, a doll, a Beanie Baby, whatever you think. We'll have some extras. And they will build a model out of cardboard for that client and decorate it. So we're going to have small groups of girls and their leaders assigned to each architect. We have about 50 girls come, so depending on how many volunteers we get, we'll split those into smaller groups. And then they'll also have their troop leaders or parents there too, so it's not just you on your own with the girls. Your role is to be a facilitator sometimes and a construction worker other times. So I'll explain a little bit more about what that means in a moment. But your main goal is to supervise and guide the girls in their designs, leaving room for them to learn by being actively involved. So like I said before, taking a step back, allowing them to kind of solve the problems, but being there as a guiding force. So thinking about that person in architecture school who asks you the questions to get you thinking and guides your thinking a little bit, but doesn't tell you what to do. Then you're going to also help girls build out their model using more advanced tools. And by advanced tools, I mean advanced for a kindergartner or a first grader. So hot glue guns, cardboard cutters, things like that. You're going to do some construction work in this role as well. And so they're the leaders of the event, and they'll tell you what they kind of need you to do, and then you'll help them do it if they're not able to do it on their own. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the actual curriculum. So this is something that you would have received in your email as well, so feel free to look it over in advance of the event. But we'll just kind of go over the structure of the event and what your role is going to be in each part. So at the beginning, around 8:30, we'll probably start checking in girls. The event itself starts at 9, but we'll have some Goldie blocks laid out. They're these really cool kind of building, kind of Lego-esque but different toys that we'll have laid out for the girls to kind of start building and thinking creatively while we wait for everybody to get here. Then after that check-in phase, we'll do an introduction. And so that'll be done by me and Angela. And for that introduction, we're going to do a few things. We'll welcome everyone in, talk about where the restrooms are, and we'll do the recite the promise and law, which is what we do to start all of our Girl Scout events. Then we'll kind of talk to the girls a little bit about architecture, and we'll read a book. And this book is an awesome book about the architect Maya Lin and the work she did. And it really kind of shows her journey as an architect. After we read that little story, we're going to define architect really simply for the girls. And then we're going to have a few architects come up to the front of the room and talk a little bit about what kind of architecture they do, so the girls can see that there are different types, and maybe just a little bit about why they decided to be an architect. If you're interested in doing that, you can speak with Angela. Next is 9:30 to 10. We're going to do some designing. So the girls are going to get into those groups that I talked about with you, and they'll have a big piece of paper, and they're going to work on designing a building for their client. So I'll kind of introduce this idea and this challenge, make sure everybody has a client, allow the girls to ask some questions, and then here highlighted in gray, you guys will help with this portion. So kind of facilitating the girls to start designing and then asking them some questions. So you can think about some things that a building might need that they might not think about on their own. Things like, do you have a door? Is the building big enough to hold your client? Do you have windows? And actually they want to kind of design in real size. So what they design is going to be about the height and width of their final building. So you can ask them these questions to get them thinking and making sure they got all the details. And then once they're done, they're going to kind of cut out their building, glue it to cardboard, and then you can help and other adults can help cut it out so you have a 2D front to your building all set to go, and it's got that design on the front. Once they're done with that piece, we're going to take a little break. I suspect that we might need a little bit of moving around and then also a little bit of a snack, so they'll have some snack. And then we get to phase 2, which is the building and decorating phase. So I will huddle up the girls at 2 different points to talk a little bit about stuff. The first huddle will be talking about how they're going to basically build the 3D portion of their model. So now that they've got this flat front piece, how can they think about floors, walls, roofs, those kinds of things? And then they'll come back to their table and get started, and you and other adults, the construction crew, will help answer questions, ask questions, and help them actually build out their piece. So they might need some help with the hot glue and the cutting and things like that. We will have some pre-cut pieces to help make that a little bit easier. And then the second huddle, I'll get everybody back together again and we'll talk about decoration. So the girls are going to have some standard supplies at their table and then some additional supplies at the front of the room to decorate. So they get to do some interior design. They can make some furniture if they want. They can color the walls inside the building, on the outside. So there's lots of options for them there. I suspect that this part will be pretty easy and intuitive, but I'll set some ground rules for that. And you're just helping as needed with certain supplies or certain materials that they can't do on their own. And then the last piece, once they're kind of done with that decoration part, and you know, not all girls might not finish, but they do get to bring their design home, so they can always keep working on it at home. We're going to do some reflection. So if you think about a studio when you have a critique, we're not going to critique anyone's work, but we are going to share our work and explain our design with each other. So they'll share and explain their design with other girls in their group, and I can help lead them through these questions. And then everybody's going to place their building in this really cool cityscape we'll lay out. So we're going to have some roads, some flat like water features, mountains, things like that. And the girls can pick a plot and put their city in. And then we get to take a picture with them next to their built city. And they'll reflect together just to answer some certain questions about like what they thought about the experience. And then the last piece is that the girls will clean up. We'll obviously help them with that piece as well. And then we'll end with a friendship circle, which is a classic kind of experience that we do in Girl Scouting. Don't worry, I'll lead it if you don't know what it is, but it's just a song to kind of end our time together. And that is kind of the whole event. So it should be really fun. I'm really excited about meeting everybody and getting together. I know the girls will be excited to meet some architects and learn what it's like to be an architect a little bit, have a peek into architecture school. And I think it's just going to be a really fun event. So thank you so much for volunteering. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email Angela or me. My name is Hannah Gilbert again, and you can reach me at Hannah, HANNAH, .Gilbert, GILBERT, at girlscoutsrv.org. All right, thanks so much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at our architecture event. Bye.